So when we speak her name, let it not be only with sadness, but with gratitude. She gave everything she had, even when she had nothing left to give. And in doing so, she became immortal, not in fame, not in monuments, but in the quiet rhythm of hearts still beating because of her. Kimber Mills was 18 years old, but she taught the world something timeless: that love is not measured in years, but in what we leave behind when the lights go out. Her story is no longer just a tragedy. It is a reminder that kindness endures, that giving transforms pain into purpose, and that even in death, the heart can keep living on. Daniel Naroditsky's story is one of brilliance, curiosity, and quiet depth, a story that now feels almost mythic because of how quickly it was interrupted. His passing at just 29 years old shocked not only the chess world but anyone who had ever encountered his voice, his games, or his extraordinary mind. There was something magnetic about Daniel, something that made people stop and listen, not because he demanded attention, but because his presence exuded calm intelligence and sincerity. To speak of his life is to reflect on a rare kind of genius, one that never sought fame, yet became an icon through sheer authenticity. Daniel Naroditsky was born on November 9, 1995, in San Mateo, California, into a loving and supportive family that noticed early on his endless fascination with patterns and puzzles. From his earliest years, Daniel had a mind that was both analytical and poetic. While most children his age were focused on games or television, he spent hours lost in thought, studying shapes, rules, and movements that others might overlook. When he discovered chess, it wasn't just a pastime, it was a revelation. The board became his universe, a world of infinite possibilities where imagination met logic, where creativity found order, and where he could express the quiet fire of his intellect. By the time he was 6, Daniel was already competing in local tournaments. He wasn't loud or flashy. His presence was composed, deliberate, even meditative. Observers remember that when he played, he seemed to fall into another dimension, calm, still, and fully absorbed. Coaches soon realized that Daniel wasn't merely talented. He was exceptional. He had a gift for pattern recognition and a near photographic memory for positions. But beyond that, he possessed something rarer, an emotional understanding of chess, an ability to feel the rhythm of a game rather than just calculate it. At the age of 10, he began dominating national competitions. His style was unmistakable, strategic, graceful, and unhurried. In 2007, Daniel made international headlines by winning the World Youth Chess Championship in the under-12 category, an achievement that placed him among the brightest rising stars of his generation. But unlike many prodigies whose brilliance burns too brightly and fades too soon, Daniel balanced ambition with humility. He didn't seek the spotlight, he sought mastery. He earned his Grandmaster title at just 18, one of the youngest Americans ever to achieve that rank. Yet even as he climbed the competitive ladder, he refused to define himself solely by victories. He was as much a philosopher as he was a player. To Daniel, chess was a mirror reflecting the human mind, its flaws, its creativity, its endless search for understanding. He saw the game not as a battle between opponents but as a dialogue between ideas. Beyond the tournament hall, Daniel was an artist of words. His book Mastering Positional Chess became essential reading for players of all levels. His prose carried the same clarity and precision that defined his moves, but also a warmth that made even the most complex principles feel alive. In writing, as in chess, Daniel pursued truth. He explored how patience, intuition, and empathy were as vital to success as calculation or aggression. His readers didn't just learn to improve at chess, they learned to think differently about life. In the digital era, Daniel's influence only grew. As chess found new life online, his Twitch and YouTube channels became sanctuaries for thousands who sought not only to watch great chess but to understand it. His calm voice, gentle humor, and deep insight transformed dense analysis into moments of beauty and discovery. Viewers often described his streams as meditative. They weren't performances. They were conversations between teacher and student, between mind and board. In a space where arrogance often dominates, Daniel's humility stood out. He spoke softly, thoughtfully, with a tone that conveyed respect for his audience, for his opponents, and for the game itself. Those who interacted with him off-camera tell stories of kindness, patience, and generosity. He took time to respond to fans, encourage young players, and collaborate with peers. He saw chess not as a competition for attention, but as a shared journey of learning. There was no pretense in him, no superiority, just an earnest love for knowledge and teaching. But behind every genius lies a human being, complex, introspective, sometimes burdened by the very gifts that make them extraordinary. Daniel's close friends and colleagues often spoke of his deep introspection, his tendency to reflect endlessly on ideas, mistakes, and meaning. The pursuit of excellence in chess is not only demanding, it can be isolating. Hours spent in quiet study, the relentless mental strain, the expectation to perform at the highest level, all of it takes its toll. Yet Daniel faced those pressures with grace. He remained grounded, turning solitude into reflection rather than despair. As he matured, he found balance by sharing more of himself with the world. His commentaries, his teaching sessions, his mentorship of young talents, these became ways for him to give back. In doing so, he transformed from a player into something much greater, a bridge between generations, a voice of clarity in a noisy world. When the world learned in October 2025 that Daniel Naroditsky had passed away, the collective grief was profound. It wasn't just the loss of a brilliant mind, it was the loss of a rare spirit who made intellect feel human and compassion feel profound. Tributes flooded from grandmasters, students, commentators, and fans across continents. Every message carried the same tone of disbelief and sorrow, as though people couldn't accept that someone so vital, so full of quiet life, could suddenly be gone. In the days that followed, people revisited his videos, his games, his writings. They realized how much of him still lived in his words, in his voice explaining a tricky endgame, in the calm laugh after a clever move, in the humility that made him so loved. The chess world felt emptier without him, but also more connected, because Daniel had spent his life connecting people. He turned the solitary game of chess into a shared experience. His legacy cannot be measured in trophies or titles alone. It lives in the thousands of players he inspired to look deeper, to think more patiently, to act more kindly. It lives in the countless children who, watching him stream, discovered not just a game but a philosophy, a way to approach life with curiosity and respect. His impact reaches beyond chess, into education, communication, and the very idea. Daniel Naroditsky was, at his core, a seeker. He sought understanding, precision, and beauty. Every move he made, every sentence he wrote, carried intention. And though his life ended too soon, his contribution will echo for decades. Future generations will read his books, study his games, and feel his presence guiding them. His voice will continue to teach long after he's gone, not because it was loud, but because it was honest. In remembering Daniel, we remember the best parts of human potential, the combination of intellect and humility, brilliance and empathy, reason and heart. His story reminds us that greatness isn't about dominance. It's about light, the quiet light that helps others see. And though his own light has faded from the world, it burns on in every player who thinks a little deeper, studies a little longer, or treats an opponent with a little more grace because of him. Daniel Naroditsky's name will forever belong among the greats, not just for what he achieved, but for who he was. His life was a lesson in balance, in kindness, and in the beauty of thought itself. Somewhere, perhaps, a young child is sitting at a board, playing their first game, unknowingly following the path Daniel illuminated. In that moment, his spirit lives again, silent, patient, and brilliant, forever teaching, forever guiding. Kimber Mills's story is one that pierces the heart, not only because of how short her life was, but because of the enormous warmth and light she managed to give during it. She was only 18 years old, yet her presence filled every space she entered with laughter, motion, and that youthful radiance that makes others feel more alive simply by being near it. Hers was the kind of energy that felt infinite, until one senseless act of violence revealed how fragile everything truly is. And yet, even in her final moments, Kimber showed the world what it means to live and to give. Her life ended too soon, but her spirit refused to stop. It continues through the lives she saved, through the hope she left behind, through every memory that refuses to fade. Kimber grew up in Alabama, in a small town where everyone knew her name, where high school football games were community gatherings, and where the cheerleaders were the heartbeat of Friday night. She was one of them, the bright, lively girl always smiling under the stadium lights, full of enthusiasm and fearless joy. Those who knew her best remember her as the spark, the one who could make anyone laugh, who never walked past someone without saying hi, who never hesitated to stand up for her friends. There was something magnetic about her, something honest and wild and alive. At school, Kimber wasn't just known for cheerleading. She was a dedicated student, an athlete who also ran track, and a young woman with a growing sense of purpose. She wanted to become a nurse, to dedicate her life to helping others. It wasn't a dream of fame or fortune, it was a dream born of compassion. She saw people hurting and wanted to make them whole. She was fascinated by the science of healing, but more than that, she believed that kindness could be a kind of medicine too. Everyone who met her could see she had that healer's heart. In the early weeks of October 2025, Kimber's senior year was in full swing. It should have been a season filled with anticipation. The last homecoming, the final games, the college applications, the laughter with friends as graduation drew near. One cool Alabama evening, a bonfire party was organized in the woods near Pinson, a place local teenagers called the Pit. It was meant to be just another celebration, a night of music, friends, and memories. Kimber was there, surrounded by people she knew, smiling like always. But that night, a confrontation broke out. Arguments turned into shouting, and suddenly, without warning, a gun was drawn. Kimber, who had nothing to do with the conflict, was caught in the chaos. In an instant that no one could ever undo, she was struck by gunfire. The sirens came fast, the night filled with panic and disbelief. Her friends screamed her name, trying to wake her, trying to hold on to something that was slipping away too quickly. She was rushed to the hospital, and for hours, her family clung to hope that she might open her eyes, that the doctors might find a miracle. But the injuries were catastrophic. Her brain had suffered irreversible trauma. Machines could keep her heart beating, but the doctors knew her mind was gone. It was the kind of news no parent, no sibling, no friend should ever have to hear. And yet, in that unimaginable darkness, Kimber's family made a decision that reflected who she was at her core. Kimber had always said she wanted to be an organ donor. She believed that if something ever happened to her, she wanted others to live. It was a choice made long before tragedy struck, but it became her final act of grace. When the time came, her family honored her wish. They turned their grief into a gift, a final, immeasurable act of love. The hospital organized what is known as an honor walk. Doctors, nurses, and staff lined the hallway in silent tribute as Kimber was wheeled through for the last time, her family walking beside her. People who had never met her cried quietly, understanding the enormity of what was happening. It was both heartbreaking and beautiful, a farewell wrapped in purpose. Her organs would go on to save multiple lives, including those of children. Somewhere in that same hospital, people who had been waiting for transplants received calls that changed everything. Kimber's heart would beat again, her lungs would breathe again, her spirit would continue in the most literal way possible. At Cleveland High School, the next morning, silence hung over the halls. The cheer uniforms were placed on the bleachers, and candles burned at sunset. Her teammates gathered around photos of her, smiling, laughing, mid-jump, and the reality began to sink in that she was truly gone. Teachers described her as pure joy in human form, someone whose positivity made long days bearable. Her friends couldn't stop talking about the little things, how she always hummed before games, how she said, "You got this," to everyone before a test, how she made people feel seen. The town held vigils, each one glowing with hundreds of candles. Stories poured out from classmates and neighbors. They spoke not only of the tragedy but of her spirit, how she loved dancing barefoot in the grass, how she stayed up late talking about her future, how she had a knack for comforting others even when she was the one struggling. It was impossible not to cry, but equally impossible not to smile when remembering her. In every retelling, one truth became clear. Kimber had lived fully, fearlessly, and with a heart that refused to stay small. Her death reignited conversations about gun violence, about safety, about how fragile the joy of youth can be. But what stood out most was not the crime, it was her legacy. Kimber became a symbol of how goodness can triumph even in devastation. Her name began to represent courage, generosity, and the quiet heroism of giving life when yours is taken. Her family, though shattered, found strength in her final act. They spoke of her as their angel nurse, the girl who had wanted to save people, and who did. For the recipients of her organs, Kimber is now a silent guardian. Somewhere, a child runs with her heart. Somewhere, a woman breathes because of her lungs. Somewhere, people who will never know her name are alive because she existed. And that is the miracle of it all, the continuation of one spirit through countless others. Her short life created a chain reaction of hope, an echo that refuses to die. Months will pass, years will move forward, but the community of Cleveland High School and the town of Pinson will not forget. Every time her classmates walk into the gym, they will see her banner, her photo, her name. Her story will be told to new generations, not as a warning alone but as a reminder of how much one heart can give. Kimber's story teaches something rare and necessary, that even when everything is taken from you, you still have the power to give. That compassion is not measured by time but by impact. She was a girl with dreams, laughter, and love, and in the end, she became something far greater, a symbol of grace in the face of tragedy. If you close your eyes, you can almost see her, standing on the edge of the field in her uniform, hair caught by the wind, her smile unbroken. That image, frozen in memory, will forever belong to those who knew her, but its meaning belongs to everyone. Kimber Mills reminds us that life, though fragile, is powerful when lived with love. Her laughter, her energy, her final selfless choice, they are proof that even a short life can leave an infinite mark. So when we speak her name, let it not be only with sadness, but with gratitude. She gave everything she had, even when she had nothing left to give. And in doing so, she became immortal, not in fame, not in monuments, but in the quiet rhythm of hearts still beating because of her. Kimber Mills was 18 years old, but she taught the world something timeless, that love is not measured in years, but in what we leave behind when the lights go out. Her story is no longer just a tragedy. It is a reminder that kindness endures, that giving transforms pain into purpose, and that even in death, the heart can keep living on. As we reach the end of their stories, the silence feels heavier than words. Daniel Naroditsky and Kimber Mills are gone, yet their presence lingers, in the echoes of their laughter, in the lessons they left, in the beauty they created. Their names now belong to memory, but their impact will live in every heart they touched. In the quiet after the storm, we realize that loss is only the shadow of love, and that those who burn brightest never truly disappear. Somewhere, in the spaces between thought and time, their light still flickers, eternal, distant, and unforgettable.